What's going on, guys? Payne here once again, and thanks for joining me for another edition of my Everton career on FIFA 13. It's my third and final season, and we're kicking things off with a fixture in the Champions League against the German side Schalke. Now, the last time out in the Champions League for Everton, we went head-to-head against Copenhagen. We was playing away, and we managed to overcome that team. We beat them 2-0, picked up our first set of 3 points in the group stage this season. So I was hoping, because we was at Goodison Park, that we would be able to pick up our next set of 3 points. And it was looking very promising to go through to the next round of the Champions League, to that knockout stages. We still had to go through Juventus though, and that was going to prove to be a tricky fixture. Now we got a corner here. Matri did take it. I didn't want to waste any time by picking a player to take the corner, and I had a shot. There was another corner after deflecting off one of the Schalke defenders, and I gave this one again to Matri. Didn't want to waste any time. I wanted to get the ball into the box and grab myself a goal. And Thiago, the guy that I signed from Barcelona in the summer, made it 1-0 to Everton in the 15th minute. And what a goal it was, just outside the box into that top right-hand corner. He's very fond of that right-hand corner, is Thiago. He's such a great talent, and he's got potential to be even better than he already is. And it was such a great bargain, and I'm so happy that I managed to pick him up from Barcelona for something like 9.2 mil. Bargain. So we beat Schalke 1-0. That's 6 points added to our tally in the group stage. I couldn't have wished for a better start for my Everton side in the Champions League this season. We are just flying at the moment, and at the time of playing this, I couldn't wait to play Juventus. It was going to be a tough one, but it was going to be a very good game. Guys, you're going to have to stay tuned if you want to see the highlights and the result of that game later on in this video. But first, we had to play Newcastle United on the weekend in the BPL at Goodison Park. It was going to be a tough fixture. It always is against Newcastle. And as you can see there, Gouet, who is a former Everton player, we sold him in the summer, if you remember from 2 videos ago. And I've also noticed this on FIFA 13 as well. Whenever I've sold a player to another team which is in the BPL, whenever we have to play them in the season, that player never seems to start the game, or he never seems to start the game on the bench. Is it because it's part of the contract? Because that player went for money, it's not a loan. Because I know with a loan that the player isn't allowed to play against the team that owns him. So if any of you guys know what that is all about, let me know in the comments below. I look forward to it. So our next fixture saw Everton head on over to Wales to play Cardiff in the Barclays Premier League. I was looking forward to this one because the last couple of fixtures have been pretty dull. There's not been many goals scored, and I was hoping, even in the poor weather conditions, that my Everton side was going to grab themselves a couple of goals along with those 3 points. And notice that Gary Hooper started this game for Cardiff, and if you guys have been watching since my Manchester United career, you will know how much Gary Hooper annoys me on FIFA 13. Got nothing against the guy in real life, he's a great player, but on FIFA 13 it's a different story. There was countless times when I was with United where we had to play against Celtic, and he was playing for Celtic at the time, obviously, and he would get himself a couple of goals in that game. We even lost to Celtic a few times. It was just so annoying, and I was hoping that that performance wasn't going to be repeated in this career with Everton, so I was going to try and do everything in my power to stop that from happening. And Jelavic picked out Fellaini early on in the game, straight after kick-off, and Fellaini, he's not going to miss from that distance, with a nice cool shot. Delicious goal, curling that one under the arms of the goalkeeper, making it 1-0, and we was just going to start flying now. Morales in bags of space, took the ball down that right wing, swings in across, and picks out the head of Stephen Pienaar. 2-0 to Everton within the first half an hour. I did say that I wanted to get a couple of goals in this game, and that's exactly what I did. 2-0 before half-time, couldn't have asked for a better start. Phil Jagielka, as Gary Hooper was making his run, went in for an early tackle as well, and just caught him. He got himself sent off, of course he did, but at the end of the day, it was Gary Hooper that will be tasting mud and grass for weeks to come. That's what you get for knocking United out of the Champions League all those seasons ago. Brilliant performance from Jagielka and also my Everton team as we walk away from Wales with our heads held high and those 3 points to add to the league table. Our next fixture was in the BPL once again against newly promoted Nottingham Forest. We was playing at Goodison Park, so there was no excuse not to come out with a good result. There's my start 11, pretty strong side to be honest when you take a look at it, and the final score was 2-1. I was kind of disappointed that Bournemouth wasn't able to hold on to a clean sheet, but Matry got 2 goals, so close to getting his first hat-trick at Everton. And speaking of Matry, he will be returning to face his former club, Juventus. That is indeed our next fixture in the Champions League, and it was going to be very interesting to see how Matry would be able to hold himself up, how he would perform against his old team. Will he put the past behind him and help Everton out in getting 3 more points to add to the group stage, which would give us a total of 9. We are well on our way of going to the knockout stages of the Champions League. This fixture I saw as a test for my Everton side, especially if we're drawn against teams such as Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich. It gave me a pretty good idea of how this team would be able to fare against some of the top teams of Europe. And yes, it was going to be a tough fixture against Juventus, but we just had to keep our bottle, stay calm, and hopefully the result will come to us. I think I've mentioned it before, but whenever I play against Juventus on a FIFA game, it always turns out to be a top class game, one that you would want to sit through for the whole 90 minutes. Action, both ends, and that's exactly what happened in this game. Take a look at Matry there, nice bit of skill, beating the defender, giving the ball to Thiago who has a shot outside the box. I did have time and space to actually run that one into the box, but I wanted to go for all the glory with Thiago. I wanted him on the score sheet, and look at Matry again, nice bit of skill, beating the defender, giving the ball for Morales, who's making that run inside the box, and what a volley. Such a shame that one didn't nestle safely into the back of the net, because if it did, it would have been my goal of the season without a doubt. And on the 88th minute, Gignac opens up the scoring for Everton, making it 1-0. That, believe it or not, was his debut goal for Everton, and what a time to score away from Goodison Park at Juventus's home ground in the Champions League. Brilliant stuff. That's why I signed him. What a great goal as well on the half volley. And that was indeed the full-time score. 1-0 to Everton. We walk away with the 3 points. That's 9 points in total. We are flying high in the group stage. Look at that. Juventus slightly behind us, but they dropped 3 points, of course. Schalke just behind with 1 point from Juventus. It's still very tight between those 3 teams, but we're walking away with this one. Let's just hope now that we don't go through a small blip in the Champions League. I hope I haven't spoke too loudly, because that's the last thing we need, because Juventus and Schalke, they can catch up very easily. We just need to make sure we keep that good run of form going in the Champions League, and hopefully it carries on over into the knockout stages. That's of course if we win the group. Anyway, we move on to our next fixture. It's in the BPL. We are playing against Stoke, and I decided to sim this game as well. The game ended 1-1, we picked up a point, and you know what? I think I'm going to stop simming games from now on, because we're just dropping points right, left and centre whenever I do that. And apparently Darren Gibson used his hand to get that goal. So if it wasn't for Gibson using his hand, if he did use his hand, we would have dropped all 3 points instead of just picking up the 1 point. Our next fixture is in the Capital One Cup. Now I know that I said I was going to be using youngsters, but I wanted to beat Newcastle. So I brought in a pretty strong side. I mean, you've still got the likes of Thiago and Feghouli and Olajon, some youngsters that, and also the new players that haven't got experience playing with Everton. So it's good to have them out on the pitch. And for some reason, Tarat is kind of angry at me for not picking him for games. How is that so? He's been starting pretty much every other game that I've played. So what is going on there? Why is he complaining? Don't tell me he's going through that phase where he thinks he's bigger than the club, because as soon as he does, then he's gone. He's gone in the January transfer window. I don't care how much he's gone for. We don't need that at Everton. But as I was saying, I wanted to beat Newcastle, because every time I've come up against them with my Everton side, they've always proven to be a difficult challenge. And I know we're probably going to come up with even bigger challenges than Newcastle, but they seem to be a bit of a rival for Everton over the past couple of games that I've played against them. So I just wanted to get them out of the way and done with, and I promise that if we do go through to the next round of the Capital One Cup, I will be playing youngsters for that one and the game after that, if we get through, of course. So after Jelavic scored that opening goal, that diving header early on in this game, Newcastle seemed to have woke up after that one. It's like a shock to the system. They wanted to get back into this game, of course they did, but I was going to do everything in my power to stop that from happening, and that's exactly what I did. Hallam Hope, the youngster, took the ball into the box, and what a goal, making it 2-0 to Everton. That was the full-time score as well. We beat Newcastle to put us through to the next round of the Capital One Cup. So here is the tournament tree for the Capital One Cup. Everton are now through to the quarter-finals. It's going to be very interesting to see who we are drawn against. So guys, that is the end of this video. I do hope you've enjoyed. I will see you in the next one.